One of the reasons that I love working with the local church, especially with respect to loving their most vulnerable neighbor, is because in many ways, I'm a product of the local church. I was a pastor for years, starting in the year 2000, and it's very interesting to see just how my own understanding of the world has been shaped through pastoral ministry. And a lot of times when we look at those who are pastors, we think, oh man, it must be great to have a job where you're only working 2 days a week. We all know that's not true. We all know that the pastoral ministry is not an occupation where you can just clock out and leave your cares at the door. No, this is something that sticks to your ribs. This is something that you carry with you. And you know what? A lot of us who are in ministry, a lot of us who are serving vulnerable people, we don't think about our own vulnerabilities. We don't think about our own needs. We don't think about our own brokenness. And when we fail to see that, then we will not be equipped to love the vulnerable person in front of us. We must understand what we're bringing to the party, so to speak. I'll never forget, Let My People Go was starting. I was an elder at a church. I was also working like 2 or 3 other anti-trafficking jobs at the same time. And I hit a wall. It may have been vicarious trauma. It may have been mixed with a little burnout. But I was hitting a wall and I was exhausted. I was struggling. I was a little snappy. I was having a really, really difficult time. And I'll never forget, my board pulled me aside and said, "We love you, but we've noticed some things. We've noticed you're exhausted. And this organization cannot continue unless you think through what it looked to care for yourself in this time." And so that led to my thing, a self-care plan. When we hear the word self-care, we can have a lot of emotions and feelings that come up. But at the end of the day, realizing that the gospel frees me to love God and love others, I can also realize that the gospel frees me to love who I am and to care for my own needs. And so now that I'm free, what does it look like to meet myself where I am, to provide for my own needs so that I can provide for the needs of others? And so this created a rhythm in my life where I would think through, okay, when do I burn out? When do I start to falter? And then say, okay, I'm gonna take the time that I need to rest preemptively. Not wait till I've completely crashed and burned, but rather to do the things I need to do to be as healthy as I possibly can be. And it's my hope that you consider this as well. Because you might be in the same place. But I want you to know that I don't want you to necessarily run from your vulnerability. I want you to consider how you can run to it. Because the people that you will be helping as you are working through this curriculum, these are people who are very cognizant of their own brokenness. They're very cognizant of their own vulnerability. And my encouragement to you is to, rather than act like you have it all together, I want you to act like you are in real life. To realize that you don't have it all together. That you have vulnerabilities as well. You have issues just like the people you're trying to help have issues. They may be different, but you are on equal footing. So what would it look like to realize that the things about you that you may hate, the weaknesses, the perceived weaknesses that is, and the vulnerabilities that you just want to get rid of, you just want to throw them out. Maybe those things that you think disqualify you, maybe those are the things that actually qualify you to love your most vulnerable neighbor, to love your neighbor whose back is against the wall. Maybe it's having vulnerability in common that actually serves as a platform for you to actually sit down with someone and say, you know what, my issues may be different or they may be the same, but at the end of the day, we all have issues. And so I'm not here to fix your problem. I just want to walk with you as you think through what the answers are. And I want to be a resource. I want to be a help. I want to be a friend. Because at the end of the day, your vulnerability, the thing that you think holds you back, is actually the thing that sets you free. And so as you dive into the curriculum, I want you to really think about that. How am I vulnerable? And how does my vulnerability free me to love others? Because it's interesting. Christ became vulnerable to death to save those most vulnerable from death so that we would love those most vulnerable until death. And as you are loving vulnerable people, their brokenness is going to splash up against yours. There's going to be a struggle. But unless you understand your own need, you'll never be prepared to care for others. You just won't. So that's my encouragement for you. You are vulnerable. And that's okay. Actually, that's the way it's supposed to be.